All right, welcome back to our series. This is frequently asked questions for new and aspiring TCs. So this one I'm going to do a little screen share because there's a bunch of resources that are free out there. And I'm going to tell you, steal, cheat. Okay, so here's a question. How do I learn how to be a TC? I'm going to make one correction right off the bat. A lot of people will ask me, how do I actually learn how to be a TC? If you're going to be an independent transaction coordinator, understand that learning how to be a TC is one very, it's important, but very small part of what you really need to learn how to do. If you're going to be an independent transaction coordinator, understand I don't see you as a TC. I see you as a small business owner that happens to provide transaction management as a service. So just make sure that we won't deal with the small business side here, but I do want to make sure that you're asking all of the right questions. Sometimes people just don't know what they don't know, and they don't know that they're supposed to be asking other questions. Yes, you should be asking, how do I actually process a file? How do I do transaction management? But you also should realize that you're a small business owner and you have to be asking all the other questions, such as if you're a small business owner, you own all the hats. How do I actually set myself up as a small business? How do I actually do the lead generation? And I can go on and on and on. But this is one of many questions that you should be asking if you're going to become an independent transaction coordinator, which for me technically is wrong. It's actually, I'm going to become a small business owner that provides transaction management as a service. Now, let's dive in. First thing that I could tell you, you could improvise it. Some of you are good at that, okay? You'll get a file from an agent, you'll just figure it out as you go. Now, what I would recommend, do I know TCs that have done that and still have a good business? Sure. I don't like that approach in any way, shape, or form. I wouldn't improvise anything like that. So what I'm going to tell you to do is if you go to cultivatewins.com, okay, and you're going to go to this page, it's the free tools and resources tab. Notice across the top, it says home, membership information, free tools and resources, blah, 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 blah. Go to free tools and resources. Then scroll down and there's going to be two things that I'm going to recommend that you steal. Number one, free virtual whiteboard template. And another one is a TC 101 toolkit. Now I already have both those spreadsheets open. It will open up to spreadsheets here. And these spreadsheets are free. You can go ahead and open them. Now, when you open them, it will show a template of this in the top right-hand corner. It'll say use template, click use template, and it'll allow you to actually save this as a template in your own Google Drive, and you can edit it until your heart is content. And these are fully functional tools with drop downs and all the other options and everything else like that. Bells and whistles are all included. Now, if you go to either one of these, both of these have a tab that is labeled resources. So let me just move my face for a second here. Now, this tab down at the bottom where it says resources, you'll notice the next one says C2PC. What is that? That's contract to post close. Then the next one, compare for task lists. Just go to the one that says resources. This exact same tab is in both the TC 101 and the virtual whiteboard, okay? So the first thing I'm going to tell you is in that particular, either one of those tools, when you go to the resource tab, scroll down to the bottom and you're going to see this box. It's identical in both of them. And what it has is 3 separate links to my personal Google Drive. So you're actually going to be able to go inside my Google Drive and steal what you need, okay? So let's just use this as an example. Is if I'm going to try to learn how to be a transaction coordinator, and I'm going to have to know what are all the tasks that they do from the moment they get the contract to post close, okay? One of the easiest things to do is just look over a bunch of different transaction from contract to post close task lists. And an easy way to do that is if you go into any of the Facebook transaction coordinator groups, people are so giving and so kind in there, and people say, hey, does anybody have an example of a task list? And people share them for free all the time. But then when you try to go back and look for it, you can't find it. It didn't get saved to the files in the group or whatever. It's just shared in a group. Okay, here's the thing is, whenever I see those, I download them and I just throw them in my drive. I've got over 200 of them right now, okay? Now, also, I found a number of them just by typing in Google transaction coordinator task lists, and I found a ton of them. So when you find those, I save them and I just have a dedicated drive for them. Now I'm giving you access to my drive. Look at how many of them are in here, okay? And you click on any of these, um, residential checklist, listing checklist, buyer checklist, there's transaction coordinator task list, listing marketing checklist. There's just a ton of these. And these are all by people who actually own transaction coordinator, independent transaction coordinator businesses. And they've made these available and shared them for free. Most of them are PDFs. Some of them are Excel spreadsheets. Some of them are Word documents. There's tons of them in here. So you can go in there and actually take a look at all those task lists. And that's going to be a good place to start with. Well, I don't know. I got 3 different transaction coordinators and they all do something from open to close or open to post close. Look at what they do. Okay. And most task lists are built out almost in the order that they do most of the tasks from front to back end. Now, from there, because 200's too many to look through, in my opinion, is what I've done, because not everything that I saved is strictly just a task list. Some of them are actual, they're only TC task lists. So I go ahead and I just pulled out of those 200, I pulled maybe a dozen, or I don't know how many are in here, but let's just say a dozen different TC task lists. So here are some of them, and these are from organizations that are well known, okay? I mean, these are real task lists for real businesses. What information do they collect? What does their task list look like? What order are all the tasks? Why do some people have 25 items on their task list and some have 125? Okay. Doesn't even mean that the one that has 125 is doing more work. They may just break it out a little different. Now notice this. I think that this one is for a buyer under contract. You'll notice that some have a strict buyer task list and some have a strict seller task list. Some it's just one task list. There's spreadsheets in here. All of this stuff. The next thing, how do I learn how to be a transaction coordinator? Then you can go down here and you can find all this stuff on Google too, okay? But here is flow charts, okay? So click on that. I've saved a bunch of flow charts. So let's look at a couple of those. Like, how do I learn how to do a transaction? Well, what order does anything happen in? So I've saved a bunch of different flow charts that people have created and shared online with how they actually process a file. What comes first? What comes next? What do I do? All of those types of things. So when people make these available, you can say thank you, but I'll tell you right there, after you say thank you, or even before you say thank you, download that sucker and save some of these drafts into your own Google Drive. I'm telling you right now, all of this stuff, people offer this stuff up for free. And it's great information. I know who Real Time Savers is. She has an amazing business. I don't know what she closed this year or last year, but I think I remember talking to her maybe a year or two ago, and I think she closed around 2,000 transactions, 1,500, 2,000 transactions in a year. Okay, I don't know what she's closing today, but I'm telling you right now, she's no rookie. Okay. So when she puts this type of stuff together, what's the mortgage process? So you're looking at a lot of these things are timelines from everything from the point you get the contract to the actual time of closing. Then what I just showed you on that previous one was she broke it down what actually happens just during the mortgage process. So you can look at a bunch of these timelines and start learning what is a typical timeline and what is the process. And all of these are available. People share this stuff all the time and you can find it online all the time. I'm just trying to make it easy for you. So go over to cultivatewins.com. Go into the free virtual whiteboard and the TC 101. Both of these will allow you to click on these and actually open them up as templates. You can steal them and keep them, use them as your own tools. And then each one of them has a video, a link to a video demo of how to use the tool as well. So before I end this video, because those are the free things that you can do, is I'm telling you that the first way to learn how to be a TC or how to do transaction management is to cheat. And I mean that with all my heart. Other people have provided you roadmaps on what it looks like for all the tasks that they do from contract to post-close. People have worked hard to build those things and then they share them for free. I'm telling you right now, cheat. Don't start from ground zero and try to figure this out yourself. Look at what some other successful businesses are doing. Now, once you've looked at 2, 3, 4, you've chosen 2, 3, 4, 5 of your favorite task lists, then start to build your own, because what you're doing is determining, this is a key here, what level of service do I want to provide and make available? So you might look at 6 different task lists, and one of them says that they actually write amendments and draft documents and everything else, and another one you don't see any of that on there. That's because each TC gets to determine, it's my business. I'm a independent business owner, a small business owner, and I'm going to determine my level of service. So start looking at all those task lists. What are all the services that they provide? You'll see them on the task list. Then from there, start pulling and compiling your own task list. And I guarantee you, after your first 10, 12 transactions, you may alter that a little bit, but you got to start somewhere. Okay. So the first thing is cheat. Okay. The second one is work on or for a team that will train you. I don't love that answer, but it is true. A lot of people have done that. Before they become an independent transaction coordinator, they have gotten hired onto a team. The only reason why I don't love that, some of the teams, I just don't agree with the way that they do transaction management. And so when you get hired by a team, you're learning their way. So understand that there's that could be a dream for you, and that could be a nightmare for you as well. Okay. The next one is going to be obviously online courses. Now, there are tons of transaction management courses out there. We have a number of them. And for us, here's how we do it. Is our courses used to be, I don't know, they're around $500 per course, and then you'd take 2 or 3 of these courses. So you're going to spend $500 to $1,500. We've done so much volume with these courses that we actually now make them available for free in our $12 a month membership. So if you're if you come up onto the website, it says membership information. You can look at the membership, and the membership will give you access to everything that we have, every course that we have, every tool that we have, all of our editable graphics, everything for $12. Now, that's if you wanted to learn from Cultivate Wins. It's probably the least expensive way to do it and to get real value. But the fact is some of my very good friends also have courses. Michelle Spalding has an amazing course. I don't know what hers costs, but it's another great course. And I won't mention everybody, but there's probably a half a dozen right off the top of my head that I can think of transaction management courses out there. We have our own. You can certainly go to our store, and you will see our courses on here. Like TC 101 is $89. TC 201 is $89. Each of those used to be $495. Now we just give them away for free. You have free access for that $12 a month as long as you're a member. But if you want to pay for them outright, we even have a package with TC 101, 201 systems course and an email management course for $168. So anyways, end of commercial right there. But so you could definitely do the online courses, and it doesn't even have to be ours. There are a lot of great teachers out there. If you're not going to do ours, the person that I would recommend, I love Michelle Spalding. I think she's amazing. But I would certainly become a member, and it's the cheapest route to go to get a lot of different tools and graphics and everything else, spreadsheets, so on and so forth. Next thing, easiest way to learn how to do a transaction, do a bunch of them. Okay, do a bunch of them. Here's what I want to point out to you. You can say, how do I learn how to do a transaction? And if I give you one transaction and I take you through every step, that is not the same job as doing 12 transactions simultaneously. This is a huge, important, and key point. You can know how to do a transaction inside and out, but how to manage multiple transactions at the same time is a completely separate skill set. So when I said you're going to have to ask yourself, what are all the different things I need to learn? How to do a transaction? Yes, that's one. But as a transaction coordinator, really a small business owner, providing transaction management as a service, as a transaction coordinator part of your small business, you are not going to be able to live off of one transaction at a time. So I got myself, revved up to the point that I could do 70 to 100 simultaneously in less than 40 hours a week. And it didn't really seem like I was breaking a sweat. Okay. So that is managing 70 to 100 files simultaneously. And so the real skill is not knowing anymore how to do a contract to close or contract to post close transaction. It's That part I can do in my sleep. The real skill, once I know how to do contract to post close, is how to manage that kind of volume all at the same time, stress free, which I guarantee you is possible. Guarantee you is possible. Okay. So those are two different skills. So just know the difference between those. So what's one way to learn how to do transactions? Do a bunch of them. And then the big thing is do a bunch of them simultaneously and see that as a separate skill. Now, you may know how to do a transaction. Maybe you need to get some help from someone that can do high volume, so that might be a skill that you get some help with. I don't know. But there is coaching out there for that, for me, Michelle Spalding, and a bunch of other people as well. Why you might not find a mentor. I'm going to deal with that in a different video. A lot of people say, well, couldn't I just learn how to be a transaction coordinator by maybe getting a mentor or working with a mentor? I will guarantee you it's going to be hard for you to find a great mentor, and there is an actual reason for that. And once you hear the actual reason, you go, okay, that makes sense. That's why I'm having such a hard time finding a mentor. I wouldn't expect to actually find a mentor. But I get why a lot of people are asking that in the groups. Hey, is anybody willing to mentor me on becoming a transaction coordinator? And it isn't because they don't want to mentor you because they're worried about competition. I will tell you 99% of them that would say no. They're not doing it. They're not saying no because it's competition. That's not the real answer. Okay. So I hope this helps you. The number one thing that I could tell you is, or the two things I could tell you is, number one, cheat. Get in there and look at as many different task lists as possible. Start to get to know them. Start to see familiar things from one task list to the other. The next thing would be is to just do a bunch of them. You're going to learn a lot through that, constantly going back to, I'm doing a bunch of them. I feel like I'm dropping the ball in places. Okay, go back to all those other task lists and see, okay, the balls that I'm dropping, were those included in other people's task lists? Okay. Cheat, get other people's task lists, then from there do a bunch of transactions and constantly audit what you're doing and adjust. When you need a coach, you can get a coach, but I'm considering this more training than coaching. Coaching is almost for a different thing, in my opinion. That coaching is not training. So two different things. I hope that helps you guys. Let's move on to the next frequently asked question.